greedy, barbaric, and completely amoral. But enough about the Minecraft employees. Let's talk about the sinister swine species they put in the game. At the risk of hurting our ratings, I'd recommend looking away and covering your ears now, for you're not ready for the pure animalistic rage of the pig. Oh.
Don't worry, they will find you.
And they'll what? Invite you to their next rave party? For now, let's find out everything there is to know about the piglins. I think we can all agree that pigs are lovely, and humans are also, well, they have their moments. So how come when we combine the two species, we get this?
Crude, brutal pigs.
Rowdy, hungry.
Maybe you don't say like greedy.
The piglins are quite complex. They are brute and savage, but they are also quite civilized in a very uncivilized manner.
To summarize, they're jerk faces. The idea of piglins sparked from the zombie pigmen, introduced in the game way back in 2010, an undead porker that raised a lot of questions.
Basically, as long as there were zombified pigmen, which is what started this all in the Nether, the question of, well, what were they like before they were zombified came up. People started wondering.
And then in 2016, we started planning to have a proper Nether update.
We needed a kind of civilization in there that has a bit more depth than perhaps the ones that inhabit the old Nether.
It was about expanding the universe, but also adding more mystery.
And that's exactly what the team did. New biomes, new structures, and a whole society of new piglins.
You've got your normal piglins, you've got your zombified piglins, you've got your brutes that you find in the bastions, and they're obviously a little bit more serious.
You don't say.
If piglins have a short temper or a short fuse, the piglin brutes have no fuse. They're constantly angry. They attack everything in sight.
They are not very delicate in their way of being. They're a bit more like
Goodness me, I'm starting to regret inviting them to my hot yoga class after the show.
Brutes were actually added just after the release of the Nether update. And they were added in a way to make sure that the bastion still felt like a challenge.
The brutes are defending the bastions, which means that I guess they have to be on high alert all the time.
Brutes will attack you on sight, regardless of your intentions, just like I will. I mean, just like I won't. Why don't you try and get along with some of the other piglins instead?
The normal piglins, they will stop attacking you, they will accept you, if you're wearing anything of gold.
Why, how shallow and utterly materialistic. Note to self, don't say that to their faces.
Gold is fancy, gold is wealth, and gold is sometimes power. And in the Nether, you need power to stay alive.
So we introduced gold bartering, a more abrasive version of the trading you do in villages. And if you're wondering what abrasive means, well, I'm afraid I don't know. Sorry.
It was important for us that it wasn't same as trading, because the piglin's personality isn't really that you have like a nice conversation, like, oh, can I get this for 2 emeralds? Like, no, that's not really their style.
Bartering couldn't be simpler, which is good because it's my job to explain it, and I couldn't be simpler either. You simply offer your gold to piglins by, well, throwing it at them. Then said piglin picks up the gold, stares at it, how riveting, and then gives you something in return. Sometimes something very useful, like enchanted books, potions, and even ender pearls. But other times...
You might not always get what you're looking for, that's for sure.
The piglins' rules are there, and you have to adapt to them. They won't adapt to the players.
I gave the piglins my entire life savings, and in return all I got was soul sand. True, I love soul sand more than anything in the world, but they didn't know that.
When you live in the Nether, sometimes soul sand is all you got. So if that's all you got, then here you go.
Yes, but why should I have to suffer? Oh, I suppose living in the Nether is no picnic, unless you like having picnics in lakes of molten lava. Despite the hostile conditions, piglins have done an admirable job of building a society here. But hang on, did they build all these structures or just take them over? The devs did tell me, but I didn't think you'd be interested, viewers, so I threw their answer away. You're welcome.
At least we can say that piglins have been in the Nether for a really long time, and there might have been times in the past where they were a stronger civilization.
Trying to think like a piglin, I wouldn't care if I built this structure or if someone else has taken over it. As long as I understand this is mine to protect, I will protect.
Surviving in the Nether isn't easy. It's an environment even more hostile than the comments section on my hot yoga videos. Piglins, however, seem to have survived by hunting hoglins for food and leather.
We think about items based on the environment that the mobs live in. For instance, the desert villagers have a lot of green because they get the green dye from the cactus. And for the piglins, most of their clothes are meant to look like they're made from leather, and leather you get from the hoglins.
Hunting can of course be savage harsh and brutal, so we toned it down with some dancing. Wait, seriously?
It's also funny to watch piglins like from a nature perspective. If you zoom out and just watch them, how the flock sort of hunt the hoglins and then when they kill it for food, they do a little, victory dance. But if they're outnumbered by the hoglins will hunt them.
If you score some dinner, sometimes you feel like dancing.
It's not the most important thing, but I just am extra fond of the floppy ears.
The work on the piglin started in the work with legends. And in legends, all the mobs are a little bit more chibi, shorter, big heads. And they added the floppy ears, super cute.
We did talk about letting hoglins have a dance too. I think we did prototypes for it. When the hoglins outnumber piglins and kill them, it didn't end up in the game.
I wonder why. They just can't seem to vibe with Pigstep. Pity. Speaking of music/disturbing sounds,
their behavior is very emotion-based. Either they're sort of completely in neutral peace, or they are very aggressive, or they're very happy, or they're bartering with you and they don't like your offer, or they do like your offer. So we have to cover a lot of emotional outlets.
well, we don't have emotions in Britain, so Samuel, please demonstrate these emotions for us.
They are at peace, but they're also a bit confused at what's going on. That sort of plays with their maybe not being that smart.
Well, after all that, now you're hopefully a piglin expert. And remember, never hit a zombified piglin unless you fancy hanging out with the "you died" scream. Oh, and also,
If you like chaos, try bringing in a hoglin to our world.
and I thought my advice was irresponsible. See you next time!